Welcome to the Globetrottin ADs. This podcast is for you, athletic directors, activity coordinators, coaches, and program associates based in international schools around the world. The Globetrottin ADs is proudly hosted by Nick DeForest from the American International School Vienna and Matt Fleming from the American International School of Budapest. Here they are now, Nick and Matt and the Globetrottin ADs.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Globetrottin ADs. This week, we're happy to have Kathy Tanco-Ong, also known as Coach K. She is a certified Master Athletic Administrator and the Director of Student Activities at Brent International School in the Philippines. So welcome to Kathy. How's it going, Coach K?
Thank you. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Yeah, hey, from me too. This is great. We're gonna spend a lot of time together today with what we have afterwards, and next week we have something. So we're really happy to have you on and kind of introduce you to ADs around the world. Can you start us off with a bit of a profile? You know, where you are, how you got there, any other schools you've worked at?
So I haven't worked at any other schools. Right now, my first and only school I've worked for is Brent International School, Manila, and that's in the Philippines. And my title is the Director for Student Activities. I have been there for 10 years, and I still feel like a rookie, so I'm always learning. My school, Brent, is a nursery to grade 12 school, and we are on one campus. We're privileged to be, on a pretty nice campus. I think it's 24 acres, and so we've got good facilities, and so I'm lucky to be able to work with that.
Great. Always learning is perfect, right? You always, no matter what you're doing or where you are, you always want to be learning. So that's great. What kind of a sports background do you have? What sports do you play?
Well, it's funny because I never dreamed of being an athletic director. Really, that wasn't in my focus. My original career was very far from being an athletic director, but I was an athlete in school, and I went to an international school as well, and so I know how that works and the travel that's involved, and I've had a great time. So my favorite sport is volleyball, and I still play it up to now, at least before COVID hit. And so now I've taken up golf and tennis. But in my youth, I played basketball and softball and volleyball.
Cool. Oh, cool. Well, Matt mentioned at the beginning that we know each other from working together at the NIAAA, and you're on the international committee with us. And you've also brought a lot of the NIAAA guys over to the EARCOS conference. Can you tell us what it's like bringing guys over and working with the international committee in general?
Yes, I mean, it was such a blessing that two members of my conference, which is the Asia Pacific Activities Conference, told me about the NIAAA. And my goodness, I needed to learn a lot because I was a brand new athletic director. And so when I went to the first conference, that was in LA, I was all alone, didn't know what to expect, but my mind was just blown with the ethos of the NIAAA and the people who are involved, that they just want to help all the athletic directors be better athletic directors. And so I've attended a lot of conferences since then. Now, it's very expensive coming from the Philippines, and for all of us in Asia, it's quite a trek to make it there into the December conference. So as much as I try to promote it, I also wanted to bring some of that education closer to home. And the EARCOS conference, East Asia Regional Conference of Schools, is what EARCOS stands for. They have two conferences a year, and one is for the leadership. It's the leadership administrators, and so the ADs are part of that. And so I thought, well, why not bring somebody from the NIAAA there so that professional development could be a little bit more accessible to the ADs in Asia. And I attended the international just out of the blue, the international meeting, and that's where I learned that you guys were already doing this kind of kind of liaising and bringing people from the NIAAA out to your CEESA conference, I think it was, and then the Canadian faction also were doing the same thing, and so I haven't looked back since then. I'm still trying to bring all of this, to Asia just to make it a little bit more accessible. Obviously now with COVID, it's not easy, and what has happened though is that more athletic directors in the Asia area are now able to teach some of the courses, and so that has helped a lot too.
Coach Evaluator is the premier coach evaluation software for schools and athletic organizations and preferred coach evaluation solution of the NIAAA and the Positive Coaching Alliance. The system is completely customizable with an always growing evaluation template library for athletic directors to reference. There are not only evaluations for ADs to use, but also self-evaluations and parent-player evaluations of coaches. Learn more about digitizing and simplifying your coach evaluation process by visiting www.coachevaluator.com. Mention Globetrottin ADs to receive a $200 discount on the yearly rate.
Kukri are a global multi-sport clothing brand specializing in providing the world's most prestigious schools with bespoke made and designed team uniforms for students of all standards and abilities. If you are frustrated by inconsistent colors, branding, costs, and sizing across your school's uniforms, then it's time to discuss an offering where every sport is available from softball to soccer for male and female athletes at rates to suit your budget. To find out how Kukri could elevate the apparel of your student athletes to a professional level, email the team at contact@kukrisports.com. A dedicated sales manager will offer you a quote today. Mention this ad and receive a special offer on your coach or PE staff order.
Okay. So with upcoming International Women's Day, which will be happening here soon in a couple of weeks, we always like to highlight that as a little tradition. We kind of started last year, where we had another female AD from CEESA join us last year. So we're really happy that we can have a lady AD joining us. So with that in mind, just want to talk a little bit, we don't usually have a lot of female ADs because there's really not a lot out there. It's mostly men that are in the field. But we are lucky that we do have some ladies out there in our line of work, and they do a really great job, and we're happy to work alongside them. But as a female AD, Kathy, how do you think your role as an AD in your school influences, benefits your role in the school? Did I say that right?
I would think, the basic side of that would be that I've seen female athletes who are, I coach as well, so they're on my team, and I hear comments like, "Oh, okay, I want to be like you. I want to be an athletic director like you because I love sports as well." So I mean, influencing the young female students, I think, is a side benefit of it. I mean, otherwise, I realize that there are more male ADs, but I never think of it. I don't know. I don't really feel any different about it. We have in our conference, in our APAC conference, we are 12 schools, and we actually have 3 female athletic directors. We used to have 4, so it is not an equitable ratio, but it's not 0, and so we're making headway. I think all the females I meet, athletic directors that I meet from around the world, and especially in the NIAAA conferences, are just as impressive as the male ADs I meet. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but
that's great. Yeah,
and I think they'll only grow in numbers, because young females playing sports right now, that there's just so many more playing than there were years ago, right? So those, like you said, you become an athlete, and then you want to take that career to the next level and maybe become an AD. So the more females are playing sports now, the more ADs and things in the future, right? Where looking back 30 years ago, there maybe, young females weren't playing sports like they are right now.
Or they might be afraid that, oh yeah, that's a man's world, and that's a profession that I don't think I'm going to be accepted into. Maybe in the past, that's might have been the way it went, but now I don't think that's the case anymore. I think there's equal opportunity no matter what part of the globe you're in.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, but along those lines, do you think there are any barriers you've run into, or is anything that might have kind of gotten in the way in your rise to your role within your school?
I can't think of anything. In fact, when I was asked if I was interested in the job, the other two candidates were male, and my predecessor, my boss at that time, was a male, and yet he recommended me over the other two. So I don't think there's been any wall that I've hit because of it. That's not to say that maybe some fathers, of students maybe will think, oh, I don't know if she knows a lot about rugby or, certain sports that maybe I don't know a lot about. But no, I've never really felt discriminated against. In fact, I find that okay, this might sound a little bit personal, but I tend to mother, athletes and thespians and, whoever is involved in the activities program. And sometimes I feel that helps as well, medical wise. I'm quick to react because I've been through it before. I have two kids, so I know what to do in a situation. That's not to say that a male athletic director wouldn't know what to do, but just those type of things I think have actually been helpful. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm sure, and I'm sure that's always appreciated by those kids. It's comforting. It's a different approach when it comes from a motherly type, person in a motherly type role. So I'm sure that's well received, no doubt. Especially if it's an emergency or if it's like it seems like it's going to be a pretty dire situation. A calming motherly voice is usually, I think, a little more easily accepted than maybe the dad trying to handle everything. Maybe they're coming in from a rough situation, rough angle.
I've seen some doozies in my time. Broken leg in two areas. Somebody hit by a discus that was thrown that ricocheted tree and things like that. As I'm sure you guys have as well, because and especially you, Nick, baseball is a big one. Lots of baseball injuries. So.
Absolutely, especially when in lower levels when maybe they're not paying attention as much as they should be.
Yeah,
you guys are frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had mentioned that maybe there's going to be more ladies coming up through the ranks to come into these AD roles, whether it's through coaching or through their PE teaching experience and being familiar with athletic programs. So do you have any advice for these ladies out there? Any tips?
Yeah, and it'll probably, it's premised also on something I didn't say about your earlier question. What would be some of the hindrances is I guess as a female, I'm a little bit more sensitive. I think I tend to take things more personally. Like, for example, if one of my students violates, the code, it has nothing to do with me, but I do take those things, I don't know, I take them to heart. And it's like, well, why are you doing that to me? Why are you doing that to the program? Why are you doing that to the school? And so my advice to female athletic directors would be, don't take it personally. They're young kids and they'll do what young kids will do. And I guess my other piece of advice to female athletic directors would be to continue to trust your gut and your instincts, which I think are strong for all athletic directors.
Right. That's good advice for me. Don't take things personally. Geez, I do that. I do that too often. The one parent complaint, I think more about than the 50 emails of thanks, right? I wanted to ask about female coaches, and as a female AD, either in your program or just in general, does a female team need a female coach? Is that something you try to do? Does it play any role for you?
First of all, let me say that it's difficult to find a female coach, okay? And I don't know if that's particular to my school or this country, but it's difficult. So when I find one, and a good one, I do everything I can, to keep that female coach. What was your second part of your question?
Yeah, if you had to choose, do you want to have female coaches coaching the female teams at your school? Let's say you had the choice. You just said you don't find too many, but if you had the choice, would you want that?
If I had the choice, I would want it, and there's a reason for that, and it doesn't have to do with coaching at a certain level, because we travel. Mm-hmm. And so when we travel and it's a female team, logistically and, child protection type of thing, if there's an issue that's a feminine related issue, a female coach would know how to handle that more than a male coach. Mm-hmm. So having said that, if I have a team that's traveling and I don't have a female coach on that team, what I'll do is I will have to send a female chaperone in addition. Mm-hmm. So obviously that there's costs incurred with that. Yeah. So when I do have a capable coach, obviously I'm not going to choose a female coach who's not a good coach. Right. I won't do that. But when I do have a capable female coach available for that sport, then definitely I will choose that person if it's a girls team.
Right. Yeah, I mean the best coach should weigh out, right? Regardless if you female or male. We have females coaching male teams at our school, and males like myself coaching female teams, right? Because we're the best ones to do that. But
yeah, and I don't know if I should say this or not, but I mean I love coaching my girls teams, mm-hmm. but I find it a little easier to coach a boys team.
I think it's the other way. After coaching the boys baseball for 20 years, I couldn't wait to switch to softball for a change.
Yes.
Softball is close to my heart. It's a different animal, so softball's great no matter what. But yes, I'm with you. Yeah.
Having coached boys and girls myself as well, in the last couple of years I've been helping out a high school girls basketball team, which is great. So it's good fun. But then in the spring, I'll coach middle school boys softball. So it's a whole other approach you have to take. It's like reining in cats versus almost like dealing with adults with high school girls, because they can organize themselves so well, and they're smart and they're fairly mature. And it's just a whole other dynamic. Yeah. But that's what's all fun about it too.
Right. And our seasons are short, right? So regardless,
yeah.
Seasons are very short. Yeah.
Well, we're about 15 minutes in or so, and we haven't talked about COVID yet. So we definitely need to talk about COVID, because
surprised.
This is where we are. No, jokes aside, though, Kathy, we know you were kind of back and forth to the U.S. while school was in session, and it's a bit of a rough road in the Philippines, I think, right now. So can you kind of give us the status right now and how you've dealt with the back and forth?
Right. So our status right now, we are completely online and have been since March of 2020. So we're almost going on a year of being online. So we do not have any hybrid at all. It's just been full on online. And that's obviously been tough on me, but my goodness, it's been tough on our students and tough on our teachers. Our country shut down for a while, so we had about 45 teachers who weren't able to come in, and so they were teaching on a completely different time zone. So those, let's say, I spent a lot of time, as you mentioned, on the East Coast, and I would be sleeping at 3 o'clock in the morning and then waking up at 8 a.m. East Coast time to emails. And then, so basically I felt like I was working more hours. So I can just imagine what the teachers were unable to come back to our country, to the Philippines. I feel for them. We still have some that are out now because our borders were shut. But they're doing a great job. Our students obviously are going to struggle with the pandemic no matter what, as will the teachers. But I think as far as online academics, we're doing the best we can, and I think we're doing a fairly good job. With regards to after school activities, I was able to come up with some things, and that grew. Obviously, I had to learn IT. It's not one of my strengths, and so I had to learn it pretty fast. But like this semester, we were able to come up with 52 after-school activity clubs. We call them clubs, ranging from astronomy to Jock Talk. I think we have a cooking club, League of Legends too, and so having that 52 clubs, that's for middle school and what we call upper school, high school. We had record numbers of students signing up for those clubs, which was surprising to me, given the fact that we're trying to control, screen time.
Yeah. So
I was thinking that the students would want to sign up. Well,
right.
We had record numbers of signups. Aside from that, we were able to do a middle school and an upper school play.
Cool.
We're also, our fine and performing arts have been lucky. So our APAC band, dance, theater, choir, and orchestra, they were able to audition, and we chose a squad, and so they can put those on their resumes. They will end with a final performance, a culminating performance, and so they've been lucky. They've been able to do that. Unfortunately, the athletes have not been able to do that, and that's one of the things I'm struggling with now is what are we going to do for awards? And so I'm wondering, hopefully one of your topics in the future can cover that, because I'm at a loss. Yeah. And there's prom, because I'm also in charge of prom. And of course, everybody wants a prom. So we're trying to figure those things out. I've been able to pivot student council elections as well. We held those in October of last year. I have another student council campaign and elections coming up in May, and that's why I was trying to your guys' brains. Thanks, Matt, for sending stuff. So I'm trying to do it better the second time around. Hopefully, lessons learned. So the councils put together a lot of batch bonding. What our principals are trying to get with the after-school activities is socialization, which obviously is lacking because kids aren't allowed out of their houses. 65-year-old and 18-year-old are not allowed out.
Wow.
Okay, so we're trying to have that social element present in the activities that we do. So aside from the clubs, councils come up with batch bonding ideas, and there's going to be a Brent bake-off competition. So things like that.
Wow. Not being allowed to your house and having this total shutdown is crazy. I mean, we're in the middle, and that's also not easy, opening a little bit, doing a little bit of things, but not everything. Obviously that's frustrating because you're given a little and you want it all, but to not have anything, to not be able to go to the house. Yeah. I'm sure that's why those, activities got such a great, reply, because there's just nothing else to do, right?
Yeah, there's nothing else to do, and there's no other way to see your classmates, and so this is a way, and probably even if it involves screen time, it's more social, and so hopefully the student wellness is improving because of these things that we're able to offer them.
Yeah, for sure. Just any opportunity to connect, right? So the more you can offer a different variety. And maybe those kids will get a chance to connect with somebody different as well, not just their friends, but make some kind of different connection with another student that they might not know. So, but the prom piece seems so. I mean, we canceled our prom here. Yeah. Like I could imagine trying to organize a virtual prom. Like that's just. I feel so bad for these kids. Like how would you even go about that.
Yeah.
You know, how do you go to ask somebody to dance over through Zoom? It's just crazy.
Right, and some of them don't seem pro virtual prom. They're thinking, let's do
Yeah, I
something.
know.
Yeah, but not the virtual prom. But it's interesting, Matt. You use the word connected. So we have we have our biggest event. It's a fair. It's pretty much a school fair, which we call the International Food Fest, and there are 3,000 people who come on campus for that. And
Wow.
we end with a talent show and fireworks. And so this year we've been able to bring it online, and we have had already 30 accepted. So it's going to be an over 2 hour online talent show. So.
Cool.
That's cool. That's cool.
Great.
And sorry, the connection is the name of the talent show is Connected. So
there you go. You guys are definitely connected in the Philippines through being home, right? Man, what does it look like? You know, any prognosis for the future? I know that other countries around you right now are almost all open, right?
Right. China is open. Vietnam is open. Singapore is open. It's the Philippines. We're the one lagging behind. President day before yesterday said that he will not allow in-person classes until there's a vaccine. So he's saying in August, if the vaccine is widely available, then maybe we can have in-person classes in August. So it's not looking good. It's not looking good for us.
Wow.
Well, let's forget COVID for a second. You know, and how it's impacted the Philippines. It's tough, obviously, to hear about. And I really feel for you guys and your kids. I mean, we're in a different situation where our high school kids are still on distance learning. Our middle school kids and elementary kids are on campus, but we still can't have sports. Elementary activities are limited, so it's step by step. But forgetting all about that, just for a second, because I'm intrigued about Philippines, that part of Asia. I think it's just an interesting place. My stepfather was actually there during World War II. He was stationed there, and I always kind of wondered what is it like there in the Philippines. So I don't know. Maybe you could share with us a little bit. What's life in the Philippines like, having been there for quite a while now?
Well, first thing that comes to mind is it's very warm. So I left Boston 3 weeks ago, and we just got dumped on snow. I think it was 14 or 15 inches. And then I come here, and it's our winter time, so it's like 78 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's very comfortable for us. It's great here. You know, the people are warm. So anytime you guys want to come over, you know, you have a place to stay, you will be welcome with open arms. We've got beautiful beaches, and we're known for our beaches. I think we've won, you know, some top-notch spots for beaches, and so that's something I would really recommend anybody coming here to do. The food is interesting, as is our nightlife. So nightlife is big here. So you guys are welcome anytime.
Would love to.
What's the sports like there? Do they play any unusual sports aside from the normal?
Sepak takraw. We do that here, sepak takraw, which to me seems like, wow, you've got to be a really good athlete to be able to do that, playing volleyball with your feet. Our most popular sport is basketball. So in every tiny village, no matter where you go to the most far-flung mountains, you're going to see a basketball court. Wow. It could be made of wood and on dirt, but it's going to be there. And we're not a very tall race, but we love basketball. So we have our own professional league here, which is very popular. And everybody loves the NBA as well. Obviously, another sport is boxing, because we've got Manny Pacquiao. And so that is huge. Things will come to a halt here. Traffic is horrendous, except when Manny Pacquiao is fighting. So that's the time you want to have any matches. His kids go to our school.
Oh, cool. That's very cool.
He's a very nice guy. So basketball is very popular. Volleyball is huge now here as well, especially women's volleyball, interestingly enough. College volleyball for women is huge. And now there are 2 spin-offs for pro leagues or semi-pro leagues. And it sounds like, despite COVID, that they might go into a bubble and start the women's pro league up again soon. So that should be interesting. Got a lot of nice golf courses here as well.
Cool.
So with being there, it's a tropical climate, obviously. And then is there like a rainy, hot season as well there that you have to deal with?
Yes, and unfortunately, that's when I coach softball. So
okay, that was going to be my next question. How do you deal with that with the sports as well?
Yes, so our summer here is in March. It starts in March, and then rainy season comes in April, towards the end of April. Our rainy season's pretty bad. We can get typhoons all the way up until December. But yes, when it's hot, it's brutal. It can feel like 42 degrees Celsius. So, that's the time when I need to email all the coaches and say extra water breaks, please, for all your teams when you're training. Stay in the shade and have extra breaks. And yeah, so it is something we do have to deal with. Recommendation of wearing caps. Tough for the football, soccer players, but yeah. So it is heat stroke is something that we have to guard against.
Well, I can't see a soccer player wearing a hat. Just wouldn't.
No.
yeah. No ski trips.
Oh. We're on ski break right now, but we can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
We can't ski, right? Oh well. But you talked about the Philippines, and it just sounds great. We have so many great people on and live in these different countries, and it just makes me feel terrible here in my basement, not being able to travel anywhere. but I will be able to travel again, and if we do, make it to Manila specifically, what's the top? What's the main site you can't miss, or the main thing to eat?
Well, we have a lot of comfort food, and that would be adobo, which is a chicken and pork dish, and it's got soy sauce in it, and you're supposed to eat it over a heaping hot plate of rice. So that is something I would recommend. The tourists like to eat balut, which is fermented egg. I wouldn't make you guys eat that. Some people love it though. But I think Manila is great for its history, and you were saying, Matt, that your father-in-law was stationed here, and I actually brought one of our colleagues, Doug Kilgore, went to one of the historic sites that was in World War II, and that was Corregidor Island. So that's another place I would recommend, especially if you like history and war history. So otherwise, I would recommend getting out and going to one of our beautiful beaches.
Oh,
cool.
Sounds great to me.
Really
Although you're talking about Nick, like you're stuck in your basement. I don't know what I'm going to do next time I see you in person without a green wall behind you with that baseball jersey. I want to see. It's going to be a whole new adjustment for me.
Yeah, when will that be? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Your flights now.
All right. Well, before we wrap up, I will take the conversation, Kathy, with you a bit further next week. So I want to plug, depending on when people listen to this, plug the next episode of Global Take on School Rubric. That's going to be on March 4th. It'll be you and I and Scott Hibbard and Dave Horner. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me to that as well.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. You have lots to share, lots of experience. It'll be great.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I'll be watching it live, so I'll be supporting you guys along the way.
Yeah, put some comments in.
Yep.
Tell us what we're doing. Ask us another question. And then after that, Matt, a week or two later, we have the CEESA Conference.
Yeah, coming up March 11, 12, 13. So although I believe that 12th and 13th are the main days for professional development days. So yes, if I believe you can still register for it. I think registration is still ongoing. So Anybody who's out there is listening, still wants to go to the conference virtually, go to the CEESA website. You can find all the details there. But
Yeah,
I'll be presenting. Nick and I are bringing in also the guys from 3D to share 3D coaching. Mark Hall will be presenting. So it's looking forward to seeing him in action once again. Unfortunately, not in person, but that's okay.
Yeah. And you can definitely still register. And you should say Globetrottin ADs or make a note when you register Globetrottin ADs to get the same rate that Matt and I and all the CEESA schools will pay. So
for sure, take advantage.
It'll be great. Okay.
And what you're saying is anybody from around the world can register for the CEESA conference.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Some great PD, not just, the athletics part is only one little bit. And as Matt said, Mark Hall will be there, a couple other things. And
Speaking of walk.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. All right. Well, Kathy, thanks for joining us. Thanks for staying up late and sharing with us.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you, Kathy.
Until next week, this has been another episode of the Globetrottin ADs.